Good evening. There's no agony like that of the losers in the FA Cup semi-finals. But for the winners, there's a place in the Wembley showpiece. Crystal Palace know the ecstasy of a semi-final victory. Alan Pardew's goal beating Liverpool 4-3 in 1990. They subsequently lost in the final, though, to Manchester United, who had Mark Hughes to thank last season for the semi-final goal against Oldham that kept them on course for the double. Well, Manchester United's defence of the two trophies already looks to have been unhinged in the league by Blackburn, and now Crystal Palace are trying to do the same in the Littlewoods Pools sponsored FA Cup. Gary Lineker is with us. He's been both a winner and a loser at Wembley. The players of Manchester United and Crystal Palace just want to get there. Our commentator at Villa Park is Barry Davis.
This is the 44th semi-final match at Villa Park, and if there is need of inspiration, both sides can find it from past memories here. Certainly Alan Smith, then assistant to Steve Coppell, well recalls Crystal Palace's victory here against Liverpool 5 years ago. His team today is what he wanted to pick. Eric Young and Chris Coleman have recovered from injury. Ian Dowie is back after a two-match suspension. The new boy, Ray Houghton, signed from Aston Villa on the transfer deadline, is of course back on familiar territory. And he was on the other side in 1990. United have yet to lose a semi-final here, and in total they've won the last 7 of a figure which now reaches 20. But today they add the absence of their chief source of determination, Steve Bruce, to their main architect of invention, who's been missing since the last meeting with Palace in the league in January. Roy Keane has the central defender's role. Lee Sharp will play in the centre of midfield, and with Andrei Kanchelskis again missing, probably the most naturally gifted of Ferguson's fledglings, David Beckham, will be on the right. The man in charge is last year's Cup final referee, David Ellery. So for the record, this is his first semi-final. Crystal Palace will be hoping that this is to be a weekend for the outsider. Well, they may be just slightly concerned that Crystal Spirit didn't quite stay the distance at Aintree. They attack the goal to our right, where the north end plays host to their supporters. So thereby defended by Peter Schmeichel. Early corner. First challenge between Chris Armstrong and Roy Keane. Eric Young is forward in the box. Darren Pitcher, who tried the shot, not quite as successful as his one at Molineux. John Salako. The free kick is to Manchester United. Gary Pallister. Hughes. Giggs. Lee Sharp has made a really good run. And Nigel Martyn just grabbing it in time from the feet of David Beckham. Really good run by Lee Sharp. He covered 2/3 of the field. There he is at the top of the picture. That's just the end of his run. Tried to pull it back, and Martyn just got there ahead of Beckham. Armstrong, 2 against 2 in the middle, and not quite what Roy Keane intended to do. Young is up again, and the goalkeeper struggles to get there, but does really well. And as usual, follows a save with a volley. Verbal. Good long throw. Young is under it again. And again, Schmeichel couldn't quite get to the ball. Giggs looks for a goalkeeper off his line. But Nigel Martyn recovered his ground. Piece of enterprise by the young Welshman. Martyn was well forward. Mark Hughes is the player who went down. Eyes on the ball, ready for the cricket season. Stake by Irving, gave it to Dowie. Armstrong holding off the challenge of Pallister. Pallister out of the middle, and the goalkeeper does a bit of juggling. Always been a man prepared to come for the ball, but one suspects he's got to do it even more today. The absence of Steve Bruce. And he's not put off by people in front of him. Patterson. Dowie! Oh, that was a real chance. And Keane and Schmeichel having words. Keane obviously thought that Schmeichel would come for that. Keane found himself turning. Has a case, it must be said. Schmeichel thought it was too far out. Good header by Beckham. Salako. Two in the middle. Neville with the challenge. Brown Kid looking very pensive as Manchester United are being pushed back. Salako to deliver the long one. Dowie on the near edge of the 6-yard area. It's a teaser. It was brushed off the crossbar by Schmeichel. Salako at the back. And Dowie! The man they brought from Southampton gets the opening goal. That was palmed away, not particularly well by Schmeichel. He will now wish he'd put it over the crossbar. Return back by Armstrong, the header in by Salako, the nod over the line from Ian Dowie. Armstrong, chased by Keane. Goalkeeper off his line. I don't want to be too hard on Armstrong. He had feet coming hard behind him, but he didn't really play that with confidence. Didn't look as though he believed he was going to do it. Looked up then, chased by Roy Keane. Maybe he thought he played it a bit too far away, and he tried to steer it, and he steered it well wide. One goal was enough to decide the only previous FA Cup tie between these two sides. In the final of 1990, it came in the replay after a 3-3 draw. Young clears the first Manchester United attack. They haven't lost at this stage of an FA Cup competition since 1970, when they lost in a third match to Leeds United. Here's McClare, good block by Young. Appeal for handball against Pitcher. Certainly inadvertent if it was hands. Martin can't get there, but it's wide by Sharp. And that's a corner. Ince. That's a free kick against McClare. This is where Martin comes to try and get the ball and is caught and pulled down. Alec Ferguson has had a run of successes from 90 to 94. Always won one trophy at least. Houghton in possession. Dowie! Oh, he had a chance to put Manchester United out of the competition. clear header, and will know better than anyone else that he should have scored. That could have been all over for Manchester United. It was a casual, somewhat arrogant clearance by Schmeichel, collected by Houghton, and his cross should have been buried. Well, Dowie, the scorer of the one goal which divides the teams, lived to rue that miss. Sharp couldn't get away, was fouled, free kick to Manchester United. Comes back to Keane. Massive United bodies. Shot, if such it can be described, came from Giggs. Break of 3. 4 are back. Neville's head after the one by Armstrong. Sharp. Extraordinary semi-final this is proving to be. It's one-way traffic with every so often an escape at the other end. Here's Giggs. Good stop by Martin. Ince. McClare. Young claimed it while 2 Manchester United players waited. Anxious half clearance and a free kick to Crystal Palace. The decision of the referee, greeted warmly by the main Palace support, which is behind Nigel Martin in every sense. Giggs it was who missed his shot. Missed with the right, it just hit the left. And from the follow-up, there's Giggs, and a good save by Martin. Keane. But challenged by Gordon. Salako. Whole game balanced in a curious fashion. If Manchester United get one, you feel they will get others. Here's Sharp trying to steer it past Martin, who was well forward and made a good stop. But Sharp didn't hit it as hard as he would have wished. With the room to come on his right. Won by Dowie. The only person up with him was Armstrong, who was ahead of him. But Sharp. Termination from Houghton, but on this occasion not enough. Roy Keane. Neville. Everything now to his left. Shaw. Ince. Forced across by Southgate, fouled by Southgate. Opportunity perhaps for Dennis Irwin. There's no doubt. Decision correct. Free kick against the Crystal Palace captain. It's Irwin. Oh, it's a brilliant goal! Wasn't much room to put it, but he found the gap. Nigel Martin beaten. It got a deflection of Houghton. It took it up that little bit, and it was crucial. Watch the deflection here. Houghton got up. I have to say, I can never understand why small players are put in the middle of a wall. But that's what the goal meant to Alec Ferguson. And Dennis Irwin confirming his status as the top scorer in the FA Cup for United. Look at the watch by Alan Smith. His afternoon has suddenly changed. Armstrong, the flag stays down. Real chance for Chris Armstrong. Oh, and he's wide. And it's Giggs, and it's a great shot. Brilliant stop. Wonderful tip over from Nigel Martin. Ryan Giggs' best shot of the match. He got away, he hit it cleanly, and Nigel Martin got across to turn it over the top. Off the outside of the boot, Roy Keane. And we're in the last minute of normal time. But Southgate, Salaka, it's a casual one from Butt. Extra time. David Ellery, like everyone else, will have to wait for an extra half an hour at least. Ian Dowy's goal being cancelled out by Dennis Irwin's free kick. Teams back as they were at the start of the match. Crystal Palace playing left to right. Ince sending Sharp on his way for the first attack of the half. Plenty to his right. Oh! Brian McClare delayed the pass. Lee Sharp. Stretch by McClare. Close to his third goal of the campaign. Here's Armstrong. Still Armstrong! Yes! But he's threatened to make his pace count, and his manager almost matching that pace. And finally, Chris Armstrong does come up with the goods, to their obvious delight. Palace in the lead for the second time. For a moment, it looked as though Keane would get to him. It bobbled a bit, but he got it over the goalkeeper this time. Let's look at the bounce on this. Put under pressure by Keane, but he really kept his balance and got it over a goalkeeper who was crouching a little in front of him. Roy Keane again. Good header by Shaw, who's had a tidy match. And Neville offers himself. Presumably to try and match the feats of John Salaka. Good attempt too, and it bubbles around. It's a corner. But free header, and it's seemingly trying to palm the ball past Nigel Martin. Nobody challenged Butt at all. Look at Ince. Leclerc. True that one man doesn't make a team, but one man can certainly change the character of a team and give it added invention. Bannister! He doesn't get many, but he's got a crucial one in this semi-final. Takes his season's tally to, for him, a mind-boggling 3. Just beat everybody as he nodded it to his left. 2-2. Palace being beaten at their own game, or at least being equalised at their own game. Giggs. Ince. Irwin. Free weight. Hughes! Second volley that he hasn't controlled. In a way that he's proved so many times he's perfectly capable of controlling. But usually if he makes 2 like this, there's a third waiting to count. Very awkward, and the free kick is given. Challenged by Eric Young on Mark Hughes. Houghton this time is on the right edge, won't count. Owen! But it went over that side. But the wall did its job. Houghton this time on the edge of the wall. And it goes between 2, curled away. Too much on it. Went between Houghton and Darren Pitcher. Southgate. Armstrong. Good attempt by Chris Armstrong. Real venom in the shot, having flicked it around Bannister. The angle was all against him. Really struck it well. Big smile on the face of Alec Ferguson. And we're now playing the time that Mr. Ellery will allow for the stoppages. Underdogs ending on top. Or are they? Here's Giggs. Still Giggs, sharp weights. Nobody takes control, goodness me. Young finally gets it away at some cost to himself. He got a nasty kick on the ankle. Time stood still then for a moment though. Dowie. To admire the drive and determination. It's been a brilliant football match, but it's certainly been exciting. Cross beats everybody. And a replay next Wednesday it will be. Handshake from Alan Smith to everybody he can find. Finally finds Alec Ferguson. Final score, except that it's not final because a replay will be needed to decide who goes to Wembley, is 2-2. Alec, I suppose a lot of semi-finals are scraps.
Well, that was one today, but it was a nice scrap. It was an exciting one. I've seen semi-finals where it's been uneventful because of tension and things like that, and the pitch is maybe lively and there's a wind and that type of thing. But you know, today was a real good contest, and I think we're pleased with the draw.
Indeed he is. Highlights, of course, of that replay will be in Sports Night on Wednesday. But Gary, are we to deduce that Manchester United were just a shade lucky today?
Well, I'm not so sure. I thought it was fairly even. I think Manchester United definitely had the majority of the game as regards pressure is concerned. But I would say Crystal Palace had the best chances. I think Manchester United certainly missed Steve Bruce. They didn't look as secure as they usually do, which often happens when you've got such a solid partnership as Pallister and Bruce that's been playing a long time. Things can go wrong when you bring in a new face, as Keane came in today.
Yeah, it was Keane and Pallister, but the one Crystal Palace player they had the most trouble with was obviously Chris Armstrong.
Yes, they did. Dowie played well as well, but Chris Armstrong was like the player they expected him to be at the beginning of the season. Here's the first chance that he has. Southgate puts him through, and he gets between defenders. He gets between Keane and Pallister. He's got a lot of strength and a lot of speed. I felt he should have perhaps tried to go round Schmeichel there. It was a little bit too tight to try that finish. Perhaps the one thing he's lacking at the moment is composure. Here's another chance, this time put through by Ray Houghton. I would say he perhaps should have had another touch there. Very difficult finish, and he's dragged it across the face of Peter Schmeichel. But this is the goal. Southgate again, who had a good game. But his pace and his strength there, and he gets touched, but he stays up, and he flicks it over Schmeichel's head. Now, from that look, it looks like he miskicks it a little bit. I don't think the contact was perfect, but on this angle, looks like he did actually mean it. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter when you knock them in. You're happy any way you can possibly do it. But he really played well today.
Yeah, could have had a hat-trick, couldn't he, really? I don't know if Everton are peeved tonight, but Manchester United, although they haven't yet qualified for the final, are now quoted as favourites to win the FA Cup. And yet, looking back on the game, they twice had to come back from behind. They
did, but they did show great character. They showed they're the defending champions. They won the FA Cup as well last year, and they showed great resolve, and they never gave it up. And a lot of fighting spirit in the Manchester United team. Sometimes people forget that and confuse it with the flair.
And they needed a defender in the end to get them the goal that made it a draw on a replay.
They did. Gary Pallister, who's been brilliant all season. He's got his first booking today, actually, but Gary Neville, long throw-in. He's, real find he looks to be, and he's got that throw-in to add. But I would say this is a bit of a soft goal for Crystal Palace. It's Neville's throw-in's more or less like a corner, you can see here, and Pallister gets a flick, and perhaps in the replay we might see Palace putting somebody on the far post if Neville plays again with those long throw-ins. But for United, it got them the replay. Yeah.
Do you want to put the kiss of death on one of them and tip them to win the replay?
I'm not tipping anybody. This weekend I had my national horse fell at the first, and I tipped Spurs to beat Everton.
Oh, it's not a bad double. Well, whether it was today or in Wednesday's replay, the FA Cup semi-finals will, of course, always be a heartbreak for someone. Just ask Tottenham. Their impossible dream was ended by Everton